Twitch, Tim Munkert here, and I'm starting a stream. This is December 15th at 5:15 Mountain Time, which is 7:15 Eastern Standard Time, roughly. Actually started at 5:20. In this stream, we are going to focus on some Python. So I've written down some ideas. I'm going to go through some basic Python stuff, and then we're going to create some of these worksheets here. Um, we did the primer composite. Yesterday we actually we did greatest common factor. So maybe we'll try the word problems. And got I've got an idea for that. Or we could do factorials. This might be a little bit interesting. Maybe I'll do factorials. And some of these other things here. So that's the agenda. Uh, I'm going to pull up VS Code here, and I'm going to close out this folder, and let's open up um, another folder for Python here. Let's open this one, and I'm feeling like a light theme today, so let's do a light theme. Let's do the default light theme for today's stream. And we'll start to talk about Python here. Let's create a folder. We'll call this the tutorial because we start with that. And then within this, let's just go into how to create a file. So new file. We'll call this tutorial. You can call it whatever you want, tutorial.py. To create a Python file, we have to have the .py extension. Okay. Now, when I first open VS Code, this is a fresh install of VS Code. So it's going to ask, do you want to install extension for Python? I'm going to say yes. Yes, let's install those, which includes like PyLint, which is some linting. We're going to talk about some PEP 8 standards that we can enable with our linting in a moment. So it's going to go ahead and install, and I'm going to have some coffee. Yeah. Give that a moment. And while it's doing that, I am going to uh, just let some people know, see if they're up. Live streaming Python. Okay, all right. So we've got our Python extensions installed with VS Code. By the way, if you want to get VS Code, so you'll go here and just search VS Code. It is free. You can download it for whatever operating system. I'm running this stream on a Windows machine. I also have VS Code installed on a Chromebook. It runs pretty well there. So one of my Chromebooks, it's not super fast on it. But yeah, so you can install it. It does run pretty well. Okay, so once we've got it installed, we see we've installed this extension here. You can go here and install extensions. You can search for themes if you want to. I have the GitHub theme installed. I like that one. There's another cool one, which is Blue Loco. Uh, yeah, this light one is cool, and the dark one is cool. Let's just install those. And let's install the dark one as well. Actually, but I'm feeling like a light theme. To change your themes, you can do a keyboard shortcut. Let me just get out of here. Yeah, let me do that one. You can do a keyboard shortcut, and you see I have that nice pink. Now that I'm local light, I can go Control K, Control T, and I can get some of these themes. I like, yeah, local light is pretty nice. Most of these extensions are free, or at least all the ones I've seen. You can always check on that if you go to the extension, go here, and then click on it, you'll see it says this extension is free. Okay. All right. So now that we have VS Code set up, we can print something. So if we want to print a string, we want to put the string in quotes, so we can say something like, "Hi, my name is Tim." Okay, I can save it, and now this is a simple program. I can now run it with this little play button here, and you'll see that it prints out, "Hi, my name is Tim." Pretty cool. Um, I can now get rid of this terminal in a couple of different ways. I can type exit, okay, that'll get rid of it. Another way, if I run this again, I can do Control D. And is that not working? Ah, that's not working. Never mind. I can kill the terminal here with that as well. All right. So that's a few different things. Okay. So now you see when I type new things like print, let's just do another line here. You'll see it's saving because if I go to File, I have autosave enabled. Okay. Um, so if you don't have autosave enabled, if I click that off, uh, if now I print, you'll see that now it's telling me that I need to save it. So I need to turn on autosave. Okay. Or I can hit Control S to save, or uh, I can save with another way to save is the menu. Okay. Um, so I could go here, the traditional method, and go File, Save. Okay, I'm just going to turn on autosave. That's quick and easy. That's nice. So let's just do that. So now to get the files here, I've got the files here. Um, so I've got extensions, I've got files. To close that out, keyboard shortcut is Control B. That just gives you some more room. So let's talk. Okay, so the other thing is now looking at errors. So let's say I just do this. Okay, you'll see that my given theme, let's say I'm using the default theme, which is this one. Either way, it's going to show me this thing here. And actually, the default theme when you initially install this is the dark one. So you're going to see, okay, it's telling me there is an error. Okay. Um, I'm feeling again the light theme, but yeah. So we see this red here. It's showing me there's an error. But let's say I go ahead and I try and run this. You're going to see this unterminated string literal declared. Okay. Um, so what that basically means is that uh, I need to close that. Okay. All right. So now if I go here, there is no issues with the file, right? The way it is. But let's go here and set up some PEP 8 standards. So if I go to PyCode style, um, I want to have PyCode style enabled. That's PEP 8. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to tell me that I need to install a linter. So I'm going to go ahead and install. It's just giving me a warning that I could upgrade pip. Um, but that's okay. I think this should work with the current Python 3 pip that I have. By the way, which reminds me, if we go and you want to install Python, just Google Python here because you got to install Python. Um, if you're on a Windows machine, um, so we want to go to downloads, and then you would download Python 3.1.0. If you're running a Chromebook and you're running Linux while watching this, Python 3.9 is installed, and that will work just fine. As long as you have some Python like 3.7 or higher, you're probably good to follow this tutorial. Okay. So now we've got all that taken care of. Let's talk about Oh, if you want to know Python linting styles, we can go to www.python.org and go to dev/peps. Okay, and so we've got our PEP guidelines here, and you can read through that if you so choose. Okay, so one thing about Python, so now we've got now that we've got this PEP 8 linting turned on, you notice I'm getting a little issue. So there's one problem with the file. The problem is I don't have another line afterwards, so I have to do that. That's a PEP 8 standard. Okay, now it goes away. So you see the problem goes away. So this code editor will give you basically some hints that you're uh, doing things wrong. All right. So it does tell you that. Now, let's talk about indentation. So let me create a program or a variable is streaming, and I'm going to set that equal to true. And I'll say if is streaming, then naturally I want to indent. And what I want to do here is I want to change my indentation to 4. So I'm going to change my tab size here to 4. And then I'm going to go here. So if is streaming, let's print I am streaming. And then else, let's print I am not streaming. Okay. And then we'll go down here and we'll save it. Let's get rid of this stuff. So I'm just going to delete the stuff out. Now notice with the PEP 8 standards, let's say I go and do that. Notice I get an error and I go, oh, there's one problem with the file. I can do control and then the tilde, and I can go to my problems and I can see that I have trailing white space with this PEP 8 standard. The PyCode style doesn't like it. Okay. Um, so if I get rid of that, then the problem goes away. Okay, so that's some of the PEP 8 standards, a little bit more strict. It's not necessarily that it'll ruin the program. Like if I go here and I run it, I get I am streaming. So the program still runs, but it's not meeting the style guidelines of PEP 8 because I have a trailing white space. Okay? Um, so when we're doing this if statement here, we've got a Boolean. Okay, so if this Boolean is true, which it's set to true, then it's going to print this. So it's going to print I am streaming. If I did false here with this Boolean, now if I run it, I get I am not streaming. Okay, so that is, that is this if-else statement with a Boolean. Okay, and if I want to make a comment that I'm using this Boolean, I am using this Boolean. Okay, so I can make a comment like that. I can do a doc string with 3 quotes, and I can say, this is another long comment. It is multiple lines, and it is called a doc string. So I can use this for like longer comments. I'm using this Boolean. That would be this Boolean here. Booleans can be set to true or false. Okay, so that's a little bit about that. You notice I'm indenting the code. If I don't indent it, then I get these errors. Okay, and I have 4 errors come up. I look at them. Expected indented block of code, expected and indented block, expected expression, unexpected indentation here. So it's like, what's going on? I just go back, then the problems, they go away. Okay. So that's a little hint with VS Code as to figuring out where your problems are coming from in Python. Now, I'm jumping around a little bit. It's because I'm not quite awake, um, but that's okay. Um, and I'm going to post this stream on YouTube. So if you want to rewatch something, then you can go ahead and rewatch it there. Okay, let's talk about types of numbers. So let's just set variables actually first. So um, I can have a variable. The naming convention is you do lowercase letters and underscores to separate words. Variable one, that's 4. Um, let's just say this is an integer, and probably don't want to put that on the same line. So that's an integer, and I want to have some white space with my comment. So these are PEP8 standards telling me, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Okay. And then let's say another variable number 2, 4.5. This is a float because it has a decimal to it. Okay. So we've got an integer, we've got a float. Um, we can also have scientific notation. Okay, so we can have this for a number, and this is the same thing as, let's say, well, let's do this. We'll do 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. So we're going to say if number 3, and we're using in a operator, comparison operator, it's a double equal. So if number 3 equals number 4, print, I learned how to use scientific notation on, or let's say in Python. This may be too long of a line. No, it's all right. Okay. I learned how to use scientific notation in Python. Notice I'm paying attention, no errors. Let's run it. So I am not streaming. I got to change this to true. I learned how to use scientific notation in Python. Let me kill this for a minute and let's talk about that. So I am streaming. So you see, number 3 equals number 4. So this 345,000 equals this 345 E3. Okay, so what's that saying? That the number 3 is written in scientific notation, which you can write in Python with that E. So it's like times 10 to the third power. And the double equals is checking if they're equal to one another. Okay. All right. So that's a cool thing. And then later on, we can talk about complex numbers. They have the letter J. That's going to be beyond this lesson. Okay, strings. So let's move down and let's print. Um, let's say my name is Tim's cat is named Freddy. Okay, and we'll go down here and we'll run it. And everything runs fine. But if I change these to single quotes, which I can put a string in, we're going to have some issues. Let's run it now. Invalid syntax, perhaps you forgot a comma, okay? So a way we can take care of this is we can do an escape character, which is this /, okay? notice now that the errors go away and I can print, and you can see Tim's cat is Freddy. So I can have a string in either single quotes or double quotes. If I use one type of quotes and I have the same type of quotes in the string, I'm going to have to use an escape character uh, to handle that. So another example would be, let's put another string in double quotes. I said, and then to do double quotes, hello, I would do two escape characters here. Okay, and then um, that'll work. All right, so this is allowing me, and then when I run this, you'll see I said hello, and I have those two quotes there. Okay, this is similar to many other coding languages. So yeah, so you just need to use that escape character if you're going to do something like that. Okay. All right. Let's say I want to add numbers. So if I want to do number 5, I can add them with just like you think um, the addition symbol. So that's how you add numbers. Make this comment above is how you add numbers. Okay, I can also do subtracting numbers, so I can do number 1 minus number 2. Okay, so say above is how you subtract numbers. Okay, you can also multiply numbers, so number 7 is number. Notice how I'm getting this auto-suggesting menu, so I can go and select the number I want with the arrow keys and then hit tab. This is the little asterisk is how I multiply numbers. So above is how you multiply numbers. And then down here, we can divide numbers. Number 8 equals number 1. And then do this backslash. That's division divided by number 2. And then above is how you divide numbers. Okay, so now let's print some of these. So we'll print number 5. Okay, and let's run it. And so we get 8.5. So yeah, because number 1 is 4, number 2 is 4.5, which is float. So when you add an integer and a float, you're going to get a float. Okay, let's now print number 6. Okay, so if we run it, now we get negative 0.5 because we're doing 4 minus 4.5. That makes sense. Okay, let's print number 7. So we get 18.0. So we're multiplying 4 times 4.5. So we get 18.0 is the same as 18. But again, because we're multiplying a integer and a float, we're going to get the float. Okay. Let's change this last one, do division. Let's do 6 divided by 2. So that should be 3, right? But we're going to get 3.0. Okay. And let's run it. We get 3.0 because when you do division, even if you're dividing two integers, you're going to get a float. Okay. Let's talk about the modulo operator. This is one I use a lot in worksheets. So let's just say number 9 equals, let's do Yeah, let's do 6 divided by, or 6 modulo 2. So the modulus is percent, okay? And let's print it. Okay? And we'll run it. And we see we get 0. Why is that? Because the modulo is giving the remainder of those two numbers. So let's do a number 10, and we'll do 10 modulo, or not 10, sorry, 7 modulo 2. We should get 1, right? Because the remainder of 7 divided by 2 is 1. Okay, and let's run it. And you'll see we get 1, right? It's the remainder, okay? That's giving it back as an integer. Okay. Let's do exponents. So let's say number, and I can do numbers here in my variables, by the way. So I'll do number 11, and that's going to be, let's do 2, and we're going to do 2 asterisks and then a 3. Can you guess what number this is going to give back? Okay, let's print it out, run it. We get back 8. Okay, so 2 asterisk 3. Why do we get back 8? Okay, the reason we get back 8 is because it's 2 raised to the third power, 2 raised to the third power, which is equal to 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, we multiply 3 2's together. Okay, so we're multiplying 3 2's together. 2 times 2 times 2, that'll give me 8. Okay, if I did 4, can you guess what number you'll get back? You're going to get back, what is it? That's right, 16. Because it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 2 4 times, uh, because it's 2 to the fourth power. Okay. All right, let's do floor division. All right, so number 12. Let's take, we'll do 7, and we'll do floor division. Now this is floor division. We're going to get back, well, let's see. We're going to get back 3. Why are we getting back 3? Okay, we're getting back 3 because this divides 7 by 2 and chops off the decimal, basically. Okay, so 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. It just chops off the decimal and makes it an integer of 3. Okay, all right, so we've got, actually, we got a lot of stuff here. Let me delete all this stuff out, and we'll start anew. Okay. We'll talk about some comparison stuff. So let's just start. We'll do number 1 equals 2, number 2 equals 3. Okay, so we can do a conditional statement, which is this if else. So if number 1 is, now we do a comparison less than number 2, we'll print something. Remember, we have to indent. We'll just say something like number 1 is less than number 2. Okay, and we want to have, we don't have to have the else statement, but I'm going to have an else statement. So we can say print number 1 is greater than number 2 would be the else statement, right? Um, okay, and so yeah, so that's that. Now let's run it. What do you think we're going to get? Are we going to get this top statement or the bottom statement? Well, we get number 1 is less than number 2 because number 1 is less than number 2. All right, I'm going to kill this. Now let's say increase this to 4. Okay. Now if I run this, we're going to get number 1 is greater than number 2. Okay. But let's throw a wrench in here and let's just change this Now, obviously, this really doesn't make sense because it says if number one is greater than number one is less than number two. Otherwise, number one is greater than number two. But by changing this, now I'm going to get number one is less than number two, even though it's greater. Uh, so this is a greater than symbol. Let's do another one. So this is uh, less than or equal. So this should be now true. So we should get this top statement. And let's maybe change these. Let me just get this out. Let's say statement one. And just for the purposes of this lesson, and then statement two. Okay. All right. So we have statement one, statement two. All right. So if we go here, um, we should get statement one. So let's run it. Statement one. Okay. Likewise, if we change this here, we should still get statement one. Okay. Um, but if I decrease this, now I'm going to get statement two. Okay. So we have our comparison operators that we just talked about. So this is less than. This one is greater than. This one is less than or equal to. This one is greater than or equal to. Um, yeah, so we got some comparison operators there. You notice these PEP 8 standards, they're telling me, hey, I only want this one line at the bottom here. I don't want a one line and another one. So that's that Pi code style kicking in. Okay, let's change this. So this is one we used already, the checking if they're equal. So which statement should we get? That's right, we get statement two because they're not equal. But if I change that, let's run it again. Statement one. Okay, now I'm going to throw something in the works. What am I going to get now? Which one? Which one do you think? That's right, statement one, because this is 3 times 10 to the 0 power. And if you know anything about math, 10 raised to the 0 power equals 1. So 3 times 10 to the 0 power equals 3. Okay, so I'm throwing a little scientific notation your way. I do like to add math because I was a former math teacher. Okay, so now what do you think we're going to get? So we're getting statement two because this is not equal to. Okay, so these two are equal, so this is not equal to. Okay. You notice, talk about some styling conventions here. So if I go this and do this, I'm getting this kind of missing white space. So you do want white space around the operator, but you don't want trailing white space. Okay, that's a style thing. We're talking about operators. So now if I do that, the linting errors go away. Um, do 3.2. If I run this, and let's change this back to equals. If I run this, we're going to get statement two, okay? But there is something I can do here. Round. Okay, so it's telling me, hey, need some white space there. So now if I run this, let's see, getting statement one. Why am I doing that? Well, this round function is rounding it to 2 decimal places. Okay, so or to 0 decimal places rather. I have the decimal place, so it's rounding it to just 3. Okay, so now they're equal again. Okay, let's talk about rounding here a little bit. So let's say I have pi is what, 3.1415 whatever, and I'm going to say rounded pi, and I'm going to use this round function. We'll pass in pi in 2 decimal places. Now, if I print the rounded pi, I should get 3.14. Okay, so I get 3.14. So that's how you round numbers in Python. Okay. All right. Some other cool stuff that we can do. Let's say uh, number 1 equals -10, and the distance from 0 of number 1 is the absolute value of number 1, and we want to print the distance from 0. So what do you think we're going to get here? So if we do this, we should get 10 because we're taking the absolute value. Okay. So, and if you hover over this, VS Code will tell you what this function is doing. So there's some built-in functions to Python. You'll see here it says it returns the absolute value of the argument. Okay. All right, cool, 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 cool. Um, all right, let's change this here to 10, and we'll get rid of this stuff, and we'll say float of number 1 equals float number 1. And now let's print the float of number 1. Okay, so if we do this, let's see, what do you think we're going to get? Well, we're going to get 10.0 because it converts it to a float. Okay. Likewise, let's put 10.5 here. Actually, let me now say int number 1 equals int number 1. Let's print int 1. If we do this is giving me a weird error where I have to go back. Anyways, it's a little bit much on the linting there, but okay, so we're going to run it and we get 10. Why is that? Well, this here, so we convert a number or string to an integer. And basically what happens is it takes the 0.5 and it chops it off. Like normally you'd round that up, right? Even if it's 10.9 here, if I run this, I'm still getting 10. It just chops it off, right? So that converts it to an integer, which is useful. Okay. Let's wipe this stuff out here. Okay, so um, I'm in Colorado, so I just got a snow squall alert. Nice. Should be good skiing. Okay, so let's say max number equals, we'll use this max function and we'll do 1, 10, 101, 3, 4,000, and 5. And now we want to print the max number. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this. What should we get? we get 4,000 because it takes the max number there. Okay. Now, likewise, there's a min number, and I want to show you a cool little thing. So if I put my, if I click here with my mouse, and then I hold down the Alt and click here, I can edit these at both the same time. So if I hit the backspace, now I can type min number, okay? And now if I run this, now one more thing I should have done is min, okay? Now if I run this, I'm getting 1. I'm getting the minimum number, okay? So that's another cool little thing. All right. Let's see what else. So there's a bunch of things that you can learn in Python. I'm not going to be able to cover them all today. Yeah, let's do another thing here. Let's say we'll just say number 1 equals 10, and then string of number 1 equals string 10. Okay, print. Now you're not going to probably see this, but um, I run this, it's going to print 10, but um, another thing I can do is print uh, the number 1. Let's do number 1 was changed to a string even. No. Let's say number 1 equals, and then we'll just do a plus, and then plus string of number 1. And if we go here and now we run this, number 1 equals 10. Okay, so that works fine. But if we just take number 1 here, I'll prove that's written as a string. Let's run it now. We get an error. Can only concatenate string, not int. So this is an integer. This is a string because I used this method to change this number to a string. So now it works. All right. So that's one way to do it. Another way in Python 3.7 and higher, we can take care of this issue. Like let's say I just wanted to print the number 1. I can use an F string. So I can say number 1 equals, and then within curly braces, I can pass in the variable number 1, and that will work as well. So it keeps showing that little odd error there. Now if I print it, so number 1 equals 10, so I can pass in this integer. You can pass in this variable in a formatted string. So that's an F string. Okay. Close this out. Type. Okay, data type. So there's also a function here. So let's start again. We'll just do number 1 equals 10. Number 2 equals 4. Variable 1 equals dog. Okay. I can print the type of number 1. Okay. Yeah. See, the PEP8 is telling me, hey, you got an error, but I don't, because then it goes away. Print the type of number 1. Let's run that. Okay. Class int. All right. Let's change this to 2. Okay. Run this now. It says class float. All right. So, and we'll say variable 1. It says class string. Okay. So you see that the type function can give you the data type of the variable. All right, so that's useful. There's a whole bunch of things here. In Python, you can import modules. So let's go here, import my math module here because I love math. All right, so we can import a module, and that's basically some code that someone else has created, and then we can use that code for various different things. So, okay, so let's, if you're in Algebra 2 at the end or pre-calculus, you probably have learned a little bit about radians. Um, so 2 pi radians is 6.28 roughly. It's 2 times pi, 2 times 3.14. So if I say um, variable 1, and typically when I'm naming variables, you want to be descriptive about what you're naming the variable to be. So var1 isn't necessarily a great name, but let's just go with it. Um, we'll do math.cos 6.14, and we'll just see what that returns. Okay. Oh, one thing we should probably print it. Okay, let's run it. So we get very close to 1. Okay, why is that? Well, the cosine of 0 degrees, which would be 2 pi radians, uh, is is 1. All right. So we're getting close. I rounded it to 6.14. We can, I believe I can do, let's do 2 times math dot pi. We should get, depending on how Python rounds, we should get close to 1. Yeah, we get 1.0 here. Okay. Um, because that's the exact value of it's 3.14 with all the extra stuff at the end. I'd never memorize it past 3.14. I know a lot of people that do, but it's never interested me. Um, okay, so that gives us the cosine. We can also do sine, and this should be 0 when I run this. Yeah, and we get, because of rounding, we're not quite at 0, but look at this. Negative 2.4, blah, 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 times 10, this e, times 10 to the negative 16. Okay, so that's, if you think about that, that's negative 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 2, 4, 4, 9. So very close to 0, right? But Python isn't quite rounding exactly close. I mean, technically this is 0, but that's what it's giving. So just a little bit of information there. Okay. Um, all right. Okay. So another cool one is tangent. This one, tangent is sine over cosine, so this should be close to 0. Again, it might not quite be with rounding. Again, yeah, so we're getting this very close, okay? Because we're cosine's 1, right? So it's basically the sine, this value divided by 1, all right? Um, we can do the arc cosine also. Uh, and we get a domain error. Well, why is that? Well, the arc cosine is the inverse sine. Okay, so if the inverse sine is 0, well then you're basically getting 1 divided by 0, so you can't do that. Let's see what other ones we have here. Arctangent, we could do that. I think we'll get another issue. No, well, we got that one. Okay. So arctangent is inverse tangent. Yeah, obviously inverse wasn't quite giving 0, so it's working out okay there. Technically, let's see, arctangent. I'd have to take a look. Arctangent, what? That's inverse tangent. Yeah. Anyway, so that's you can do that. I need more coffee. Let's do a few other ones. Let's kill this, and then let's go here. And do, let's say number 1 equals 3.2. And number 2 equals math.ceil. Number 1. Okay, and I'm going to get rid of these. And then let's print number 2. Okay. What do you think we're going to get in this case? Uh, so let's run it. And look at that, we get 4. Okay. So what this does is it bumps it up. You can see um, it bumps it up to the next integer. So if I hover over it, returns the ceiling of x as an integral. Okay. So it's returning an uh, integer. And but likewise, let's take this and I do math.floor and I'll put 3.9 here, right? So if we were just rounding, it should round to 4, right? Because anything 0.5 and higher will round to 4. But if I run this, I'm going to get 3. It just chops it off, all right? So uh, it goes to the lowest next large integer, okay? All right, let's go back to our radians here for a moment. Okay, so let's say no, let's say pi u. It's not a great name. Pi 2 equals math.pi times 2. Okay, and then we're going to say degrees pi 2 equals math.degrees. We'll pass in pi 2. Okay, so if I run this, uh, well, I get nothing because I haven't printed anything. So let's print it. So now if I run it, I get 360 degrees. Okay. Why is that? Well, because remember, 2 pi is one full rotation around the unit circle, if you're thinking unit circle. And this math.degrees, if we hover over it, see what it does. It converts an angle x from radians to degrees. So you can figure out a lot of these Python functions. Okay, let's make some room here. All right, I want to talk, and I'm kind of jumping around with math functions. I just like math functions. Take it for what you want. Again, I'm going to post this on YouTube, so if you want to go back and go, hey, what was he talking about there? You can do that. So let's say number 1 equals, okay, let's do math.log and let's do 8, 2. And let's print number 1. Okay, and we get 3. Why is that? Okay, so what this function is doing is it's basically giving us the log with base 2 of 8, which would equal 3, right? Because 2 to the third power equals 8. Okay, so we can do logarithms here. Now, there is a specific function for log 2. So let me actually log with base 2. So if I do log 2 here, I get the same thing because there is a specific one written for log of base 2 because it's a frequent one that you use. But if I got, let's say I take this out, I make this 81 and this 3, now we should have log base 3 of 81, so we should get 4.0. Okay, so if I run this, I get 4.0 because we have 3 to the fourth power is 81. So that's how a little bit about logarithms, how they work. Uh, we can also do exponents with this way instead of the double asterisk. So if I want to do math.pow of, let's say, 2 to the fourth power, well, what do you think I should get? Okay, if I print this out, I'm getting 16. So I'm getting it as a float, but 2 to the fourth power is 16. If I do this 2 to the fifth power, what should I get? Well, we're multiplying 16 by 2 one more time, we should get 32. If I do 10 to the third power, well, what should I get? I should get 1,000 because 10 raised to the third power is 10 times 10 times 10, which is 1,000. Okay, back to degrees and radians. So let's say I do 360 here, and then I do number 2 equals math dot radians number 1, and I print number 2. Well, what should I get? Let's run it, and we get 6.2831 da 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 da, which is because I'm basically getting 2 pi. So this is converting 360 degrees into radians. Okay. All right. That's another cool one. Let's do 81 here. And then let's do number 2, math dot square root of number 1. This is a square root function. And we'll print number 2. So what should we get this time? Take a moment. And we get 9. So we're getting the square root as a float. Square root of 81 is 9. If I change this to, say, 36, I should get 6.0. If I change this to 4, I should get 2.0. Yeah. So that's taking the square root. Okay. A couple other cool ones. So we're getting 2.7. This is the mathematical constant E. And then that's the mathematical constant tau. Um, so, that's one of the things you can do. And, for right now, I think that's a lot to digest. We went through about 1 hour of tutorials. So next hour, what I think I'm going to do is create some worksheets here while I work on my coffee. Okay. All right. So let's crush this and then let's close this out and take up, let's see, what were we going to work on? I'm going to pick one. Divisibility rules. Let's make a worksheet on divisibility rules. So let's create a folder here, and we'll call it divisible by 3. And we'll create a new file. I'm going to call that main.py. I'm going to import some modules. So I'm going to do Control B to get this out of the way. I'm going to import OS I'm going to import sys. I'm going to import random. That's a module that allows me to use some random stuff. I'm going to say sys.path.append and a dot there just so I can use some other files here. I'm going to say from lists import list, and I have to create that. So from I don't know what I want to call this. From threes import three. Okay, so I have to create these files. So let me open this up here and go here and create a new file. Let's call it lists.py and create another new file and call it threes. Okay, and we've got to create a class called list, and I just want to make a random list of numbers from, let's say, 1 to 1,000. And I'm going to say random number list. I'm just going to, this is my easy way of making it. It might not be the correct way, but it works for these worksheets. So say random number list is an empty list. I'm going to say for x in range, to go from 1 to 1001 to get up to 1,000. I'm going to take random number list and append x. So that's going to give me numbers from 1 to 1,000. And then I'm going to return the random number list. Okay. And okay, so that file is good. Um, yeah, so see if it wants me to put it. Okay. Yeah, it likes to have these up top. It's the Code style telling me, hey, do it this way or else. Okay. All right. So, but that's good. You know, I like that it's telling me, hey, your style's not quite right there. Fix it. Okay. So we got this thing here, and then I'm going to now create a class called three. And we're going to instantiate the class, and we'll have the random number that is generated. And we want to have, and we'll say self.random number equals random. And then we'll just say is div3. This is not the best function name, but that's is divisible by 3. So easy way to do this, again, using the modulo operator. We'll set is div, which is a Boolean, to false. And then we'll say if self dot random number, if the modulo of that and 3 equals 0, then we'll just say is div equals true. And then we'll return is div. Okay. Um, and then after that, I want to have def, or yeah, create a method which we'll call solution string, pass in the self, and we'll say if self dot is div3. So if that is true, we're going to return um, uh, just divisible by, the number is divisible by 3. And then else, we're going to return the number is not divisible by 3. Uh, yeah. Okay, it's telling me I have white space there, but yeah, I mean I could. What? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's giving me that white space warning, but whatever. This is going to run fine. So there are a few styling things I might break here. Um, okay, so we got some methods coming from this. Uh, um, so I want to say that rand equals list. So I'm just creating a variable. Um, and then what I want to do now is I want to basically now start to create some files that I'm going to put uh, that I'm going to write these to. I'm going to do uh, markdown to start. Now, divisibility rules. So, uh, just in case you want to know, if the sum of the digits, actually, let me write a doc string here. So, the divisibility rules are if the sum of the digits uh, is divisible by 3, the whole number is divisible by 3. Okay, so an example of this is going to be like thinking of a number, 321. Okay, so 321, if we add 3 plus 2 plus 1, we get 6. 6 is obviously divisible by 3. 321 is divisible by 3. Okay, um, all right, so that's our divisibility rules there. Now we want to write a few files. So we're gonna let's say div file. We're gonna open a file and we'll call it div-file.markdown, and let's append to it. That's going to be one of them that we're going to write to. And we want the solutions file. Make a separate file here. And now let's put the cursor here and also put the cursor here. And I'm going to make a Spanish. I like to make an English and a Spanish version. So we've got 3 files that we can write to. And now what I'm going to do is we're going to create some problems with a loop. So we're going to say for problem in range. I want to do 100 problems. So I'm going to go 1 to 101. And then I'm going to say that the new problem equals this 3 class with a random number. Um, and we could say, random number equals random number, but I'm just passing in the random number here. We have to create that, so I'm going to say random number equals random.choice, and we're going to take the rand and do the random list method. Okay. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, let's see, what should I do now? I want to start writing to some of these files. Okay, so I'm going to basically take this div file and we're going to write an f string, and we're going to write the problem number, which is going to be this problem variable that we're going to pass in. And then I'm going to do an escape character in n. That's something I didn't talk about yet, but that's to bring it down to a new line. I want to do that twice, and I'm going to do this for the other 2 files as well. So for the solution file and for the Spanish file. And for the Spanish file, I want to put problema. Okay, and then now I'm going to take this, the first file, and we're going to write f string, and we'll say is, we'll pass in the random number divisible by 3. And question mark there, and then do the /n/n. So break it down to 2 new lines, or do a line break down twice, okay? Actually, I don't need this last one. I'm going to do the Spanish file here. The one thing I want to fix here is we go up here and let's go search for English to Spanish. And is just ace. So we're going to have to fix that. And then we'll do divisible by 3. So we've got divisible por 3. And I believe let's spell out 3 here. I believe it's trace. Yep, trace. Okay. Okay. All right. Now for the solution file, let's take that one. And let's write an f string, and we'll write the solution in English. And that's going to be, we're going to pass in a new problem. And we're going to have this solution string method. So we want to do that. And we're going to close that. And then we want to have the 2 line breaks, bring it down. Okay. Now, each of these, after, I think we need to have at least another line break. So I think we can just add that here. Let's check our formatting. We'll do 3 line breaks for each of those. And then we're just going to close out the file. So take this file and we're going to close it. And I'm going to do that for the solution file. And I'm just duplicating by typing Control C and then Control V. And that duplicates the line. And then I'm hitting Control S, but I'm having to save automatically. I was just thinking, let me see if there, that's the problem. There we go. Ah, that was bugging me. All right. So there was a little white space there. Again, need coffee. Okay. So now you look, there's no errors. Everything is formatted correctly. So the one issue that you could have is logic errors when I run this. But so if I look in this folder here, I should get some more files created in this folder when I run this file. Let's go ahead and do that and see if we have any errors. Nope. No errors. But okay, these created into not into the divisible by 3. They got created into this main Python because I opened up the main Python folder. So let me just move these over. Yes, I can just move that over. I want to kind of keep these organized. And you can just drag them into the folder you want. So that's a nice, cool feature. Let's kill that terminal for a moment. And now we've got this divisible file here. And we've got 100 problems here. Okay, and we've also got our solution file. So let's see this first one, 693. That will be divisible by 3. The number is divisible by 3. The next one, 659. We'll add, we get 9 plus 5 is 14, plus 6 is 20. 20 is not divisible by 3, so this should not be divisible by 3. It's not. So I checked it twice, so I know it's right. Okay. Now I do have a node module installed, which is called Markdown IT. You can also use Pandoc, but what I'm going to do with Control and the backtick or Control tilde is I'm going to pull this up. I want to CD into this divisible by 3, So if I type cd and I type div, since I don't have any other folders that start with div, and I hit tab, it expands it and it brings me into there. I can clear this to get the stuff out of here. And then what I want to do is run this command markdown-it, and then I'm going to take the name of the file, div-file.markdown, and I'm going to output div-file.html. And I'm going to run it, and no, it's not letting me run the scripts. Okay, so maybe it's not letting me do that in VS Code. I'm going to open up Commander. It's giving me a little error there, but I'm going to cd into Documents, and then cd into Python, and then cd into divisible by 3. List this out. Okay, so now I'm going to use it here. So I'm going to say markdown-it, and we're going to take the div-file.markdown, output div-file.html. Okay, so now, I'll just minimize that. So we see we've got this file now created in HTML, and I can, using VS Code, just do an emmet abbreviation where it expands it out and gives that basic structure. And then I can take this here and do Control X. And I'm just going to do page down and go down to the bottom and Control V. And now I'm going to use page up, hold down that button, move back up. Okay. All right. So the other thing I want to do is do some pre-formatted code here. And I want to do like a name and go one more and the date. And then down here, I want to do like teacher and then do a period. Okay. And now, yeah, let's get those equal. Get this equal here, and then just do the pre-formatted code so it looks all nice. Now, when I save this, notice it did do some indenting. So I have format on save set. So if I go here and you search format on save, and I'm getting to my settings by doing control and comma. Format on save, I have it checked. Okay. If you didn't have this checked like that, I could right click and go here, right click and format document. Okay. But you can also do it Shift Alt F. But I like the format on save, so I'm just going to go back to my settings and check it. Okay. So yeah, so it formatted the document on save. Now let's open it up. Okay, go to my documents here. To Python, by 3. Open this up. So Chrome. We've got this here. We don't have any styling, so I should put some styling in the document. And let's call this document divisible by 3 worksheet. Now, to override the print styling, you've had to put styling in the head of the document. Typically, when you build a website, that's not the best practice. You want to link in a style sheet, but if you link in a style sheet, the print style sheet from the browser is going to override it. So to take care of that, I have to put the style in here. All I'm going to do here, just for this, is just say, I might do a few things. I'm going to say margin left is 0.75 inches, because again, this is like for printing a document, and the margin right's going to be the same. And then I'm also going to say, let's do a paragraph, and let's do a font size of 1.2. Okay. And now I saved it. It's a little formatting there. Okay, so now this worksheet kind of comes out nice like this. and you go down to the bottom. Last thing I want to do, I always want to put my copyright information, so I'm just going to page on down to the bottom there. Paragraph, hit tab. It's going to use the Embed abbreviation, and I'm going to say style equals text align center, and then I'm going to say copyright, copy symbol, which is the ampersand, and then copy and a semicolon. 2021 Timothy Unkert. I do put these up on Teacher Pay Teachers. All rights reserved. Okay, and that saves automatically, which is very nice, very, very nice. So I'm done with one cup of coffee. So I came and I made another cup and put it behind my computer. So transfer those and we can keep streaming. Okay. All right. So, uh, all right. Um, so we got all of this done here. And now we've got, let me go and get my worksheet here. Got the worksheet. Let's just do refresh. And we go down to the bottom. We see my copyright. I'm going to print and then save as PDF. I want to save this within this divisible by 3. I want to create a new folder, say 100 divisible by 3 problems. Okay, and I'm going to just let's name this 100 divisible by 3 problems version. Let's save that. Okay. Now let's go back down here and let's pull back up Commander here. And now I'm going to run markdown IT and we'll do div file Spanish dot markdown dash o div file Spanish.html. Okay. All right. And now let's pull this up and we have this div file Spanish. Okay. I'm going to go here, do the exclamation point tab to get an Embed abbreviation. And we'll cut this stuff and then just page on down to the bottom, paste it. Also put my copyright stuff here. It gives me that. And then copy 2021, Timothy Unkert, all rights reserved. And we got that. Now it's starting to format it. We'll page up. Okay, I want to put in the styles here and name this. This is divisible by 3 Spanish version. Okay, and then in here, we'll do a style for the body. We'll have a margin left, 0.75 inches. And we'll also do that for the margin right. And for the paragraph, font size 1.2 rem. And then we want that pre-formatted code here. So we want your name, and then go over here and have the date. Okay, and then we also want teacher and period. Okay, all right, and so that's saved. So let's open that up. And okay, so now we've got this. If we go on down, we've got copyright, got this, name and date. Let's print it. One thing I want to fix. Sorry. So, gotta put this in Spanish. Nombre, fecha, and do maestra, and periodo, and format this. And I also want to, let's do a space in between this. Right. Now I want to refresh. All right, so we've got that. Let's print this. We'll do save as PDF. Uh, and we'll say 100 visible by 3 problems, not with the PDF extension. We'll just do it Spanish. And we'll save. Okay. Let's pull back up Commander and let's do this for the solution file. So I'm going to use markdown-it div file solution.markdown-o div file solution.html. Okay, let's run. Let's just exit out of that. We don't need Commander anymore. And now we'll go back here. Let's open up the side. We've got this solution file now created. I'm going to go here. My exclamation, just get that HTML framework, cut that out, page on down, paste it, page on up, and let's say visible by 3 solutions. I should be just naming this what I want to name the PDF. I'm going to do style, the body, margin left, going to be 0.75 inches, and margin right, that paragraph, we'll say font size 1.2 rem. Okay. Now we got a closing body tag and closing HTML tag here. I gotta X that out. I messed this up. Paste that there, and then let's go back up. So I noticed that because it wasn't formatting quite right. So I want to close my head of the document and then start the body. And we have the closing body tag there. And it's just didn't format it quite right. Let's format. There we go. Okay, so it doesn't really matter the formatting, but for creating a worksheet. But I like to do that. So here's the solutions. Copyright stuff at the bottom. A P tab will give me the paragraph tag, and I'm going to say style equals text line center copyright copy 2021 Timothy Unkert, all rights reserved. Okay, and now if I refresh, just doing Control Shift R for hard refresh, you'll see the copyright information. So I'm going to print this, and we'll save, and I'll say 100. We'll just say solutions. We'll save that. Okay, and now if I go here, I got these 3 worksheets. I can now just zip this, and that's ready to go up to TPT. So I'm actually going to make some notes in my Python folder to stuff to upload. So let's close out all these files here. And I figure I'm going to try and go a little bit longer until my coffee is done. Let's create a file, uploads.txt. And so I'm going to do the 100 visibility problems. And then, so I want to upload that. And then from yesterday, I've got to upload the GCF. And then there's one other one I did yesterday, which was the primer composite. I think I'm going to upload that one as well. Okay, so let's look back to our agenda. What can we hit next? So yeah, we did these 2. You did divisibility rules. Um, we did by 3. So we could do a different one, but let's check which fractions are whole numbers. That might be a fun one. Um, all right, so let's do that one. So we got this Python folder. Just close this out. I want to create fractions. We'll call it fractions whole numbers here for a folder. Then I want to create a new file. Let's call that main.py. And we'll say from lists import list, and then from uh, let's see, what should we call it? We should call it let's just do fractions import fraction class, and then want to import OS, import sys, want to import random, and we're going to say sys.path.append. Okay, all right. And so now what we're going to need to do is go here and create a new file. Let's call it lists.py. And we're going to need to create another new file, and we'll call it fractions.py. Okay, so um, all right, let's take a look. What else should we create? So the next thing I think we should create is, well, we should create the files. So we're going to, let's call it fractions file. We're going to open fractions dash markdown dot markdown and append to that file. And I'm going to do that for the solutions and for the Spanish file as well. So we'll do dot .sol and dot uh, SPAN for Spanish. Um, I'm going to have a random variable, which is, well, random object equal to the list class, which we need to create. So I'm going to say class uh, list, and we're going to do our random number list. So a lot of these are the same. So random list, um, random number list is an empty list. Let's just do it from numbers 1 to 50. So I'll say for x in range 1 to 51. We're going to take our random number list and append x, and then we're going to return our random number list, and that's it for that. Okay. For our fractions, let's create a class called fraction, and we'll instantiate the class. Pass in self, we'll pass in numerator, the numerator, the top part of the fraction, and the denominator, the bottom part of the fraction, and we'll say self.numerator equals numerator, and self.denominator denominator equals denominator. Gotta get rid of this white space here. And we'll do another one, is whole. Is whole, yeah, is a whole number. And we'll pass in the self, and we'll say is whole, be a variable, equals false to start. And then we'll say if self.numerator equals self.denominator, because it'll be a whole number. No, wrong. Uh, yeah, no. if self.numerator divided by self.denominator, if that equals 0, and this is going to be a long line, and self dot, that's a wrong language. That was my symbol. That's JavaScript. And self dot numerator is greater than or equal to self dot denominator. Um, because I think it'll give it a 0 if it's less than, if the numerator is less than the number, then it would give the 0. So we don't want that. Okay, so then we're going to say, then is whole is going to be true. And at the end, we'll just return is whole. And the solution string, we'll pass in the self, and we'll say if is if self dot is whole number, uh, then we'll return the fraction is a whole number. Else we'll return the fraction is not a whole. Okay. Line too long. All right, this is let's do it another. If yeah, there we go. Okay. So yeah, just keeping the lines the same. So what I did is I changed this. I said if self dot numerator modulo self dot denominator equals 0, but then also if self dot numerator is greater than or equal to self dot denominator, then is whole is going to equal to true, and then at the end we'll return is whole. At the end of this, then I'm saying if this function is a whole number, if this returns true, then the fraction is a whole number, else the fraction is not a whole number. Okay. So now we can create this file, or we can continue with this file here. So we can say for problem in range from 1 to 101, we're going to say new problem equals, do the fraction with, and we'll pass in the numerator and the denominator. And we could say equals, but I'm just going to actually, what I'm actually going to do is just create them here. I'm going to say numerator equals random.choice, and we're going to do rand and then the random list method. And I'm also going to do this for the denominator. Okay. Um, White space there. Don't want that. Okay. All right. All right, we've got that going. Um, so we've got our new problem. Now we want to start writing to the file. So I want to say fractions file dot write. We're going to do an f string problem, and then we'll pass in the problem number, which is this variable that will run from 1 to 100, one less than here. And we're going to have 2 line breaks after, and then let's copy this again. We're going to do this for the solution file and for the Spanish file. Okay, and then we're going to take fractions.file. We're going to write. We're going to say something. I'll just start with a regular string because I'm going to have to break this apart. So I'm going to say is. No, actually, I might need an F string. We'll say is. I'm going to write some HTML in here. So we're going to do the numerator. We'll pass that in. And then we'll divide it by, and then no line breaks because we're still going to keep on the same line. Another F string. We'll pass in the denominator and say a whole number. And then we'll do 2 line breaks. And we're going to write to the Spanish file. So we're going to do fractions, the Spanish file dot write. We'll say ace and then superscript. Pass in the numerator. Close out the superscript tag. I made a mistake there. Up above, I see I have to wrap these in subscript tags to make it look right. We're going to take the Spanish file and we're going to write F string, then the subscript, denominator, close out that. And then let's write another line just to keep these from getting too long. A whole number. So what I have to do now is go English to Spanish here. Close these out. A whole number. Copy that and then put this in. Don't need an F string for this part, but then I want the line break, so /n/n. Okay, now we want to write to the solutions file, so we're going to say fractions file solution dot write. We're just going to write an F string, and the solution is going to be the new problem dot solution string method, and we'll do a /n/n. That's right. Solution string method. That's what I want. It's fraction class. Okay. After each of these, I'm going to make. Let's actually do 2 more line breaks just to make the formatting nice. Okay. Now we can close out each of these files here. Okay. And I didn't want that. Okay. So now all our files are run. There's no syntax errors. There may be some logic errors, but let's run our program here. Okay, so the program ran without any errors. That's good. And I think it's going to create it in this Python folder just because I started here. So I'm just going to drag these back up to here. Yep, I'm going to move them. Move them. Okay, so I move those 3 files. Now if I go to fractions.markdown, see I've got some spacing there. That might not translate with the HTML. I'm going to open Commander back up. Yeah, it's going to be there. I'm going to cd into documents, and then Python, And then I want to CD into fractions, the whole numbers. List out here. Let's use markdown IT. We're going to take fractions.markdown. We're going to output fractions.html. Okay, let's move this down for a moment. Do the same thing. So, oh, one thing we should check. So, is 17 divided by 30 a whole number? Let's check our logic. Not a whole number, not a whole number, not a whole number. Yeah, see, I'm not getting enough whole numbers. I'm getting too much variation. So what I actually want to do, I'm actually going to get that. I'm going to rerun this program. I'm going to change something. I'm going to remove the markdown files and the .html files. So that'll remove all the files that were created. If I list them out, we'll see I have those three files now. What I want to do is for this list, let's change this. Let's make it a lot less. Let's make it like 1 through 15. So I'll just do 1 to 16 here. And then let's run this. Okay. Okay. So, and then now let's pull up these created files into here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Uh, we may have to deal with the Spanish file. I may have to fix that. I don't know why. Ah, got this. So it doesn't like that. So let me take rid of that, and we'll have to do this again. We're gonna have to remove. So sometimes that happens. To remove these files, and then I'm gonna go. That's gone. So now let's run it again. This program is run. So I've created those files. Let's move them back here. I did that because it wasn't handling its symbol well. And okay, so now, all right. I'm hoping we get some numbers that are the same, but I'm looking, it's like, no, we're not. Still too much variation, I think. Um, see, none of the, oh, 14. Problem 18 is a whole number. Let's go down to problem 18. Just make sure our logic is working. Fraction is a whole number. So it is working. Okay. So let's close this out. Again, this is a bit of a process. Let's get rid of that. I want less variation in my number, so I'm just going to go like 1 through 7. So I'll just go to 1 to 8. Let's rerun this program. Get rid of that. Drag these back up. Okay. And let's take a look. So 4 would be a whole number. Yeah. Okay. So we're getting some whole numbers. Okay. So with that, we're getting some whole numbers. Okay. So that's what I want. All right. So let's run markdown IT. So we'll say markdown -IT. We're going to use, we're going to go for fractions dot markdown, and we're going to output fractions.html. Okay. Now we're going to go through this process. So let's close this out here. Yeah, so it's giving paragraphs. So if I run this program again, um, these, instead of doing these, I would do like break tags, which is the BR tag. But I think this will still work. Okay, So I'm going to chop off this page down to the bottom, paste it, do my copyright. Uh, we'll say copyright 2021, Timothy Unkert, all rights reserved. Okay, and then page on up. Okay, say 100 fraction. Fraction is whole number problems. That's what's going to come up when I go to print this. Again, the style, and I should just make a snippet here because I'm doing the same thing for all these worksheets. So I'm just going to say margin left is 0.75 inches. Margin right is going to be the same. In fact, let me make a snippet in this Python folder, and let's say font size is 1.2. Make a style snippet here. So go to our Python file. Let's add a file. It's going to be in adding integers. I'm just going to move it out. Snippet, style snippet. Because dot text. I just want to move this out. No, I don't want to move it there. Where is it? It is in adding integers. Okay, so let me go to Commander here for a minute. We'll deal with this. So we'll CD back out of here, CD into adding integers, list out. I got the style snippet, so we'll move the style snippet up one, the style snippet. Okay. Now if I go up one, list out, we see we have the style snippet. Okay. All right. So, um, so that's something that we'll have. I can just click on this, and I didn't actually paste anything into it. Let's do that and save it. Okay, and then that'll format it. I don't have to format it. It'll format this. Um, so again, in the body, I want pretext. So I'm going to have name. And actually, I'll do this as a style stuff too. Just put this in here. And then teacher. And period. Okay, and let's make sure they all line up. Okay, let's copy this and paste it into here. Okay, so I don't have to keep writing that. Let's also paste. Let's go all the way down and copy this line and paste it here. Okay, so given my, because I'll be doing this quite a bit. All right, let's go back to here. I think that's all we need. So we'll go up to here. We'll go to Python. I'm going to do fractions, whole numbers. Open this one up. Okay, and we see we got the fraction. That's the superscript and the subscript. They wrote the they had the Python right to the HTML. If I go down here, got all that. Let's print this. Click Save as PDF. As a reminder, when I'm doing this, I have my headers and footers turned off. If you have that on, you get that little annoying thing here. I don't want that, so let's turn that off. And we'll save it. And I'm going to go here. Fractions to whole numbers. Let's create a new folder. Let's call it 100 fraction to whole number problems. here, 100, and this is the English version. Okay, and let's save it. Boom. Okay, go back up to not this commander, and we're going to cd into fraction the whole numbers. List out. We want to run markdown -it. We'll do fractions dash Spanish dot markdown. We'll output fractions dash Spanish dot html. Also, just while we're here, let's do the solution one. So markdown it fractions dash solution dot markdown dash output fractions dash solution dot html. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm gonna close this out. Close out the Python stuff right now. Open this back up, and I want to do the Spanish file. Go up here, do the Emmet abbreviation, take this style, paste that in here. This is going to be a 100, a fraction to whole number problems. Just put Spanish. Okay, going to take this closing tag here, take that out, and page down to the bottom, and go there. Okay. Go to my style snippet here. Let's copy in this pretext, and then we're going to have to do it, change it to Spanish. So copy in that. And I'm going to change this to nombre, this to fecha, this to maestra, this to periodo. Now I'm going to take this, actually, just bring that back here. There. A little bit larger. Let's just make sure these line up correctly. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to take this. Actually, I'm going to bring this back here. Okay. This. Let's copy this into the style snippet. Let's copy this line. Go all the way to the bottom. Paste in that line. Format. Okay, so that should be good to go. Let's open that document. So we got this fraction Spanish, and we can now print this, save it as PDF. So let's save here as PDF. Okay, now let's open the side here. Want the solution file here, so go up here. Cut this page on down, and then paste. And then let's go to our style snippet. We don't need the name or anything like that. We can copy this. Actually, we want to go back to the bottom. Paste in that. And yeah, I think that's, oh, we got to put our style in here. So style right here and title. So under diffraction to whole number problem solutions. Okay, and then let's just format the document, which I could do with Control Alt Shift F. This space doesn't really matter. Let's open this up. Okay, and let's print. Save as PDF. Save. Go back here. So we've got our 3 files. We can go up here. We can now compress to a zip file. And we're good to upload that one to Teach by Teachers. So we'll do 100 fraction to whole number problems. Okay, so we've got those. And we're about 2 hours in. So I think at this point, I'm going to take a break because I'm getting a little bit tired. And then we will maybe I'll stream again today. Probably not, but then I'll stream again tomorrow at 5:15 Mountain Standard Time, roughly 7:15 Eastern Standard Time, and yeah, I'm going to try and stream Monday through Friday at those times. So if you're interested in that, tune in. I'll put my schedule up on Twitch. This video will also go onto YouTube. If you're watching this onto YouTube and you've happened on my channel and you like the content, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. It really does help the channel grow. I'll also leave my social links in the description below, my 90s style blog. I'll also leave a link to another YouTube channel that I'm starting, which is uh, Big Guy Walking. It's about just getting fit. I sit a lot of time behind a computer, so I need to get walking to get some fitness in. So if you like that, you can also like and subscribe to that channel and join the fitness walking community that I'm trying to build. Anyways, have a good day. I think that's it for my Twitch stream today, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one.